Gurbani encourages this by saying that the main reasoning for the Kirpan and Gatka is to help those who cannot help themselves, which is the same idea that Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji had when he had his Shahidi. To continue being outspoken and in modern formats like the law and courts or like social justice or social media is a great way for Sikhs today to continue Guruji's legacy. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ 9ਵੇਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਨ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਿਤਾ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਹਰਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਸੀ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਾਤਾ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਮਾਤਾ ਨਾਨਕੀ ਜੀ ਸੀ। ਹਿੰਦੀ ਚਾਦਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਔਰੰਗਜ਼ੇਬ ਦੇ ਜ਼ੁਲਮਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਕਸ਼ਮੀਰੀ ਪੰਡਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਚਾਇਆ ਸੀ। ਔਰੰਗਜ਼ੇਬ ਦੇ ਰਾਜ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਮੁਸਲਿਮ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਦੁਸ਼ਮਣ ਸੀ। ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਮੁਸਲਿਮ ਨਾ ਹੋਏ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਦੁਸ਼ਮਣ ਸੀ। ਮੁਗਲਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਹਿੰਦੂਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੁਸਲਿਮ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਦਾ ਠਾਣ ਲਿੱਤੀ ਸੀ। ਚਾਹੇ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਜ਼ਬਰਦਸਤੀ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਏ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਫਰਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ। ਜਦ ਮੁਗਲਾਂ ਦੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਕਸ਼ਮੀਰੀ ਪੰਡਤਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਪਈ ਤਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਬਰਦਸਤੀ ਧਰਮ ਪਰਿਵਰਤਨ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਗਿਆ। ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਕਸ਼ਮੀਰੀ ਪੰਡਿਤ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਕੋਲ ਗਏ ਮਦਦ ਮੰਗਣ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਮੁਗਲਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣਾ ਹੁਕਮ ਸੁਣਾਤਾ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਮੁਸਲਿਮ ਬਣਾਉਣ 'ਚ ਕਾਮਯਾਬ ਰਹਿਣ ਅਤੇ ਕਸ਼ਮੀਰੀ ਪੰਡਿਤ ਵੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਧਰਮ ਪਰਿਵਰਤਨ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਧਰਮ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਾਨ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਸਮਝਿਆ ਅਤੇ 1675 ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਹੀਦ ਹੋ ਗਏ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਦੂਜੇ ਧਰਮ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਾਖੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਹੱਕ ਆਪਣੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਣਾ ਧਰਮ ਜੀਣ ਦੀ ਇੱਛਾ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਧਰਮ ਦੀ ਰਿਸਪੈਕਟ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਲਈ ਵੀ ਇਨਸਾਫ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਅੱਗੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਸਭ ਲਈ ਖੜ੍ਹਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਅਨੋਖੀ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਾਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਹਰ ਧਰਮ ਦੀ ਇੱਜ਼ਤ ਅਤੇ ਰਾਖੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਬਾਣੀ ਪੈ ਕਾਹੂ ਕੋ ਦੇਤ ਨੈ ਪੈ ਮਾਨਤ ਆਨ ਕਹੋ ਨਾਨਕ ਸੁਨਰੇ ਮਨਾ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਤਾਇ ਬਖਾਨ। ਅਰਥ ਨਾ ਡਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਡਰਾਉਣਾ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਜਨੇਊ ਨੂੰ ਪਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਮਨਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਜਨੇਊ ਦੀ ਰਕਸ਼ਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ। ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਜਨੇਊ ਨੂੰ ਪਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਮਨਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਨੇਊ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲਵਾਉਣ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਦਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦਾ ਸੀ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਣ ਲਈ ਜਿਸਮੀ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ, ਰੂਹੀ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤਾਗਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਜਨੇਊ ਨੂੰ ਬਿਲੀਵ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ, ਉਹਦੀ ਰਾਖੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀਗੀ। ਇਟਸ ਲਾਈਕ ਟੂ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਥਿੰਗਸ। ਅਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਹਰ ਧਰਮ ਦੀ ਰਿਸਪੈਕਟ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ 9ਵੇਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਹਨ। ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਪਿਤਾ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਹਰਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਤੇ ਮਾਤਾ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਮਾਤਾ ਨਾਨਕੀ ਜੀ ਸੀ। ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਧਰਮ ਲਈ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਾਨ ਦੀ ਪਰਵਾਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਸ਼ਹਾਦਤ ਤੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸਮਝਾਇਆ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹਰ ਵਾਰੀ ਜ਼ੁਲਮ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਤੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਸਿੱਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮਾਨਵਤਾ ਤੋਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ। ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਧਰਮ ਲਈ ਹੀ ਬੋਲਿਆ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਜਨੇਊ ਪਾਉਣ ਤੋਂ ਮਨਾ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਲੋਕੀ ਬਸ ਬਾਹਰੀ ਦਿਖਾਵੇ ਲਈ ਬਸ ਜਨੇਊ ਪਾਉਣ ਅਤੇ ਮਨ ਨਾਲ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨਾਲ ਨਾ ਜੁੜਨ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਜਨੇਊ ਪਾਉਣ ਤੋਂ ਮਨਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਲੋਕੀ ਬਸ ਬਾਹਰੀ ਦਿਖਾਵੇ ਲਈ ਅਤੇ ਕਰਮ ਕਾਂਡਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਸਣ ਅਤੇ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਨਾਲ ਭਗਤੀ ਨਾ ਕਰਨ ਅਤੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਨਾ ਕਰਨ। ਦੂਜੀ ਤਰਫ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਉਸੀ ਜਨੇਊ ਅਤੇ ਤਿਲਕ ਲਈ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਾਨ ਵਾਰਤੀ ਅਤੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਧਰਮ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਸਮਝਿਆ, ਇਸ ਲਈ। ਅਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਕਸ਼ਮੀਰੀ ਪੰਡਤਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਬਰਦਸਤੀ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਧਰਮ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਜਨੇਊ ਅਤੇ ਤਿਲਕ ਕਸ਼ਮੀਰੀ ਪੰਡਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਚਾਇਆ ਸੀ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜ਼ਬਰਦਸਤੀ ਦਾ ਧਰਮ ਬਦਲਣ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਬਚਾਇਆ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਜੋ ਤੋਂ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਖਿਲਣ ਕਾ ਚਾਓ ਸਿਰ ਤੇ ਤਲੀ ਗਲੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਆਓ, ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਧਰਮ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜ ਕੇ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਅਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਨਾਲ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
Next up, Anup Jot Kaur.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. There are moments in history where one person stands up, not for their own people or for their own religion, but for the dignity of all human beings. That's what makes their actions timeless. Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji's Shahidi is one of those moments. In 1675, a group of Kashmiri Pandits came to him in desperation. The Mughal Empire was forcing them to convert to Islam or die. Guruji could have ignored it. They weren't Sikhs, and he had no political power. But he saw something deeper, that if we stay silent while someone else's basic rights are taken away, one day we will lose our own. So he stood up, not with violence, but with truth. He refused to back down. He was imprisoned, tortured, and publicly beheaded in Delhi. His Shahidi was not about defending religious freedom. It was about the idea that every being deserves to live with freedom of conscience, to speak, to believe, and to exist without fear. He knew standing up meant death, but he didn't hesitate. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, a guru of peace, killed not for what he believed in, but for defending what others believed in. That, to me, is the ultimate act of defending human rights. This reminds me of a story that my friend told me recently. In her political science class, there was a heated debate about the Palestinian and Israeli conflict. The room was full of mostly Christian students. Only one of the students was a Palestinian Muslim. He spoke in defense of Gaza, talking about the loss of life, the humanitarian crisis, and the pain of watching his people suffer. The Christians in the classroom pushed back, and even the ones who may have sided with the student, also held back due to peer pressure of the majority. Even the professor, who was also a Christian, challenged him harshly and defended Israel. Few stood with that student. But the student didn't yell. He stayed calm. He kept showing facts. He told his truth. Week after week, he kept coming back with more. And a few weeks later, something happened. The same professor told the class he started doing his own research, reading outside of what he believed in. And then humbly, he said, "I think I was wrong." He apologized to the student and said that hearing him speak changed his view. One voice, alone, patient, brave. And it shifted the room. When I think of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, I think of that kind of courage, but multiplied by 1,000. He didn't just change minds. He gave his life so others could keep theirs. Guruji's Shahidi was not for political gain or even for just six. It was for the principle that no ruler, no system, no swords should take away your right to believe or your right to exist. As young Sikhs today, we must remember, standing alone does not mean you are wrong. It often means you are early. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji proved that one voice, grounded in truth and love for humanity, can overcome tyranny. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Arad Kaur. No. Ashveer Singh. No speech? Aziz Singh. No speech? Balpreet Singh. Baltej Singh. Bhavjot Singh. Brahmjot Singh.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji says, "Be kahun ko detne, ne pe manatan, kaho nanak sun re mana, gyani tahe bikan." This means, one who does not frighten anyone and who is not afraid of anyone else, Nanak says, call him spiritually wise. Now, throughout the history of the world, we have seen the right of religious freedom being breached. During the Roman Empire, early Christians were persecuted, murdered, and tortured due to their rejection of paganism. The Protestant Reformation brought about wars. We all learned about the Holocaust, the anti-Semitist genocide in World War II. Religious persecution and the breach of religious freedom continues into the current day, with government restriction of religion reaching a new high, with the Pew Research Center showing in 2022 that 186 out of 198 countries have governments that actively harass religious groups. Now, in the case of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, he was tortured for days in order to protect the right of people to practice a religion that he didn't even believe in. For Sikhi, it gave the inspiration to start the Khalsa Panth. But for the world, it showed that, as simple as it seems, the right thing to do is to let people live the way they want. But he wasn't the only guru with that message. Guru Nanak Dev Ji criticized the same religious belief system that our ninth guru protected because of that inherent oppression and inequality that the belief system represented. When we look at the core message Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji were fighting for, it appears to be the same. equality. Thousands of Sikhs died for this very reason. From Guru Arjan Dev Ji to the long fight against the Mughals and even World War II, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's sacrifice was both representative of the previous Guru's beliefs as well as revolutionary for the purpose of humanity's well-being. It inspired so many people to help others that his sacrifice wasn't just for the Kashmiri Pandits, but for the betterment of our society. So what does that Shabad I mentioned earlier actually mean? It means that as we go through this camp and the rest of our lives, we must keep in mind to not force our lifestyle on anyone else, and also not concern ourselves with those trying to put down Sikhi, but also fight for equality every day. And now, more than ever, with religious persecution at an all-time high, and the separation of church and state diminishing in the Deep South, it is most important to remember, "Be kahun ko detne, ne paimanet an, kahu nanak sun remana, yani tahe bakan." Thank you.
Khalsa Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Next up, Deepasis Singh. Okay. Gundeep Kaur. No speech? Gurbani Kaur. Gurbani Kaur. Gurjas Singh. Gurjas Singh. Where is
Why is he not here?
Can you wake up Gurjas Singh? Can you go find where Gurjas Singh is? Hanji, we are ready.
Okay. ठीकर फोर दली सिर प्रपुर किया प्यान तेग बहादुर सी क्रिया करी ना किन्हुआन गुरु प्यारी सासंग जी आओ सारे गुरु तेग बहादुर जी दी शहीदी नू याद करदे होए फतेह दी सांझ पाइए वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji, the ninth Guru of the Sikhs, stands tall in the pages of history, not just Sikh history, but world history, as a shining example of courage, spiritual strength, and unwavering commitment to human rights. His Shahidi in 1675 was not just a personal act of sacrifice. It was a powerful turning point for our Panth. Until that moment, the Panth was largely spiritual, rooted in Nam Simran, humility, and service. But when Guruji chose to live his life defending the religious freedom of the Kashmiri Pandits, it awakened something deep in our spirit. His beheading by Aurangzeb was not just an attack on one man. It was an attempt to crush the principle of freedom of beliefs. But instead of fear, it sparked resistance. Guruji Shahidi laid the foundation of Guru Gobind Singh Ji to create the Khalsa Panth just 24 years later. Sikhs who would become Sant and Sipai, ready to defend the Dharam without hatred or revenge. What makes Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's sacrifice truly unique is that he didn't die for his own people, his own community, or his own beliefs. He gave his life for others, for the right to choose to worship and to live with dignity. In a world that seems violent, committed in the name of religion, Guruji's sacrifice stands as a timeless reminder. True spirituality means protecting even those who believe differently from you. The kind of love and bravery is what makes his martyrdom one of the greatest in human history. Sometimes people wonder if Guru Nanak Dev Ji rejected the Janeyu, the sacred thread. Why did Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji give his life defending it? The answer lies in the understanding of the core, the messages of our Gurus. Guru Nanak Dev Ji did reject the Janeyu, but not because it was Hindu. He rejected it because it was forced upon people without spiritual understanding or inner transformation. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji wasn't defending the thread either. He was defending the freedom to wear it, not to break it down. Their messages are not different, but stood for the same eternal principle: freedom of conscience, dignity, and right to live truthfully. The spirit of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji lived on in the sacrifices of countless others. The Sahibzade chose death over conversion. Bhai Taru Singh Ji offered his scalp but refused to cut his hair. Bhai Mani Singh Ji gave up his body limb by limb but never gave up his faith. Each of them followed in the footsteps of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, choosing truth over comfort and righteousness over survival. Sura so pehchaniya jo lare deen ke het, purja purja kat mare kabhu na chhade khet. We are not taught to fear death. We are taught to fear dishonor, injustice, and falsehood. Guruji lived that truth. His life teaches us that standing for justice is not just an act of anger. It is an act of deep love and fearless devotion. So what does this legacy mean for us today, especially for the Sikh youth? It means we must stand up, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard, whether it's bullying in schools, racism in society, or injustice in the world. Guruji's message is clear. Do not be silent. Stand up, but do it with love. Speak, but speak with wisdom. Be brave, but stay grounded in humility and Sikhi. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji is rightly called Hindi Chadar, the shield of India. But more truly, he is the shield of humanity. Today, we remember not only how he gave Shahidi, but how he lived, with dignity, compassion, and unshakable courage. Let us honor him not only with our voices, but with our actions, by living fearlessly, truthfully, and lovingly. We become the carriers of his legacy. Tegh Bahadur ke chalat, payo jagat ke sok, hai sab jagt payo jai 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 surlok. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa,
Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. Guru Roop Kaur, do we have a speech? Harjit Singh. Our chance to talk now. Harjit. Give us a minute.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're ready.
Ready? गुरु रूप गुरु प्यारी साध संगत जी गज के फतेह बुलाओ वाहेगुरु जी का खालसा वाहेगुरु जी की फतेह. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji didn't just give his life up for Sikhs. He stood up for the rights of the people of a different religion. That's not something you hear about every day. He protected the Hindus' right to wear a Janeyu, even though Sikhs don't believe in the Janeyu. That shows how much he cared about freedom for everyone, not just himself or his own community. What makes his sacrifice really stand out in history is that he had nothing to gain. He didn't fight for power or for land. He stood up for the truth and for justice and for the right to believe what you want to believe. That's rare. And honestly, super inspiring. Some people might be wondering, Guru Nanak Dev Ji didn't support the Janeyu, but Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji gave Shahidi to protect it. That's confusing at first. But when you think deeper, they were both actually standing up for the same thing: people's right to choose. Both gurus believed in justice and standing up for what's right. Guru Sahib Shahidi lit a spark in the Sikh Panth. Later on, the Sahibzade, Pai Taru Singh Ji, Pai Mani Singh Ji, all showed the same fearless spirit. They followed his example and kept fighting for the truth, even though it cost them everything. In Gurbani, we are taught not to be scared or not to hate anyone. That is exactly how Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji lived. He faced death calmly. He never gave in to fear. That kind of strength is the faith that I really look up to. So, what does this all mean for me and other Sikhs today? We might not be facing big battles like Guru Sahib, but we still deal with everyday stuff. Pressure to fit in, to stay quiet, to hide our identity. But carrying Guruji's legacy means standing up. Standing up when we see something wrong. Being proud of who we are. And always speaking the truth. Let's not just remember him as a historical figure. Let's try to be like him. In every small way, speak up, help others, stay strong in Sikhi. That is how we can honor his sacrifice every day. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Okay. Okay, I believe we have Gurjas Singh back here with us. Gurjas, do you have your speech ready? Okay. Next up, Harnoor Kaur.
Vaheguru? Yeah, I'm good here. That's good. Thank you. तरम हेत साकाजन किया सीस दिया पर सिर ना दिया गुरु प्यारी साध संगत जी वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Some leave this world crying. Some are scared. All of them leave with regrets and unfulfilled desires. Then there are some who leave this world smiling without a single regret in the deep love of Vaheguru. They died to protect others, the highest form of sacrifice. Satsangat ji, let's talk about Guru Tegh Bahadur ji, 9th Guru Nanak. Some historians refer to him as Hind di Chadar, protector of the Hind. But did he only protect the Hindus? Nahi Satsangat ji. The correct phrase is Shrish di Chadar, the savior of mankind. Guruji's stand was that freedom of religion is a basic human right that everybody has, not just a select few. Many Hindus in those times were being forced into converting to Islam. Guruji led by example and acted on the behest of the innocent by putting his own life on the line, reinforcing Sikh principles, inspiring generations to come. Through his sacrifice, he demonstrated that there is no one way or right way to achieve oneness. Yes, there are diverse spiritual paths all around us. These differences, if taken in a negative way, creates rifts between us, taking us farther from the whole idea of a unified spiritual experience. This makes Guruji's sacrifice incomparable to anything the world saw before it. The same theme is also found with other Sikh martyrs throughout Sikh history. They were all enveloped with the same undying love for Vaheguru. Bhai Mati Das Ji, Sati Das Ji, and Dayala Ji never once hesitated to give up their own life. When asked for their last wish, they only asked that they should die facing their Guru. Pe kahu ko det neh, neh paimanat aan, koho nanak sun re mana, gyani tahe bakhan. Simply put, fear none, frighten none. The same Janeo which Guru Nanak Dev Ji had rejected, Guru Tegh Bahadur protected from extinction. Guru Nanak's rejection was not the rejection of the Hindu beliefs. It was the rejection of all the fears and forcings of customs and rituals which deviated the soul from the spiritual awakening. This same rejection of Pa was then demonstrated by Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. Just like Guru Nanak took a stand against forcing beliefs on others, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji led by example. We, the Sikh youth, are the messengers of Sikhi. The Sikh philosophy is ingrained in our spiritual DNA. Even the simplest acts of seva can spread such a beautiful and impactful message for others to follow. I'm currently in the process of founding a Sikh Awareness Association at my high school to help with different kinds of seva, spreading the teachings of Sikhi by doing so. Friends, Sikhism isn't just a religion, it's a lifestyle. And I believe that by being the best model we can be as Sikhs, we can show them that the Guru's path is one worth following. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
Next up, Harshan Singh. No speech. Himmat Singh. Himmat Singh. Where is he? No speech? Yep. Japjot Singh. Japjot Singh. No speech? Okay. Japneet Kaur.
Guru Pyari Sat Sangat Ji, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. About 350 years ago, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji gave the ultimate sacrifice, not to save his own people, but to protect the rights of others. He stood tall against the Mughal Empire, choosing death over silence in the face of tyranny. His Shahidi wasn't just a moment, it was a turning point in Sikh history. Guruji showed us that standing for truth is more powerful than any other sword. As he wrote in his own words, Jinna sio tune laya, and se te kiya kino. This reminds us not to live in fear or attachment, but in truth. His sacrifice woke the Sikh Panth to rise, eventually leading to the creation of the Khalsa. What makes Guruji Maharaj so unique in world history is that he didn't just die for his own religion, but for the rights of Hindus to practice theirs. This act is remembered in Guru Gobind Singh Ji's writings. Tilak jiva rakha praptaka, kino buddho kulo me sakha. His sacrifice was a universal message. Stand for freedom no matter whose it is. Now some may ask, if Guru Nanak Dev Ji rejected Janeo, why did Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji protect it? The answer is really simple. Both stood against forced rituals and for the freedom to choose. As Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, "Mitti Musalman ki pere pe kimyare." Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji didn't defend the thread. He defended freedom of conscience. Both Gurujis shared the same core principle: protect dignity and choice. This message echoes through Sikh history, the Sahibzade that embraced martyrdom. As Guru Gobind Singh Ji said, "Sura so pichania jo lare din ke het." And how do we as Sikh youth live this legacy today? Gurbani gives us a clear path. Joto prem kalinka chao, sirta tali kali miriao. To carry Guruji's legacy means to live without fear, to speak for the voiceless, to be grounded in Sikhi no matter what the world says, and above all, to live for Sabatapala, the good of all. Nanak Nam, Chardikla, Tere Bane Sarbatapala. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Next up, Jaskirat Singh. Jasveed Singh. Oh. Jujar Singh. Kirpa Kaur.
Vaheguru. Vaheguru. गुरु प्यारी साध संगत जी, वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। गुरु तेग बहादुर साहिब जी की शहादत तो सिखां नूं मनुखी अधिकारां वास्ते एक नवी सिक्ख्या मिली, जिस ते सिख अज भी मनुखता की मदद करके पैरा देंदे हन। गुरु जी की शहादत एक बहुत ही विलक्षण वाली गल है, क्योंकि इस तो पहला इतिहास दे विच एक धर्म के गुरु ने दूजे धर्म नूं बचाउण वास्ते कदे भी कोई शहादत नहीं दिती। गुरु नानक साहिब जी ने जनेऊ पाउण तो इनकार किया, क्योंकि यह रस्म मनुखता नूं जात पात विच वंडदी है। जदों हिंदू पंडित बादशाह औरंगजेब दे जबर तो तंग आके गुरु जी दे कोल मदद लैण लई आए, तदों गुरु जी ने सरबत दे भले वास्ते अपनी शहादत दिती। जेकर मुसलमाना या ईसाइयां नाल ए जुल्म ते बेइंसाफी होंदा तां भी गुरु जी ने अपनी शहादत देनी सी। इसे करके कवि सैनापत उन्होंने सृष्टि की चादर आखते हैं। प्रगट पे गुरु तेग बहादुर, सगल सृष्ट पै टापी चादर, करम तरम की जिनपत राखी, अटल करी कल जुग मैं साखी। गुरु जी की शहादत तो सिक्ख्या लैके सिखा ने हक सच अते इंसाफ वास्ते अपनी शहादत दिती अते सिक्खी दी वेल नूं मजबूत कीता। मैं लाहौर दे विच गुरुद्वारा शहीद भाई तारू सिंह जी, गुरुद्वारा शहीद गंज सिंह सिंघणिया, जिथे मावां दे गलां दे विच टोटे कीते बच्चों दे हार पवाए गए अते भाई मनी सिंह जी दी शहीदी दी थां ते दर्शन कीते हैं। अफसोस है कि पंथ इन्हां गुरुद्वारियां दी दर्शन नहीं कर पा रही, जो गुलामी दी निशानी है। गुरबाणी दे विच सानू निडर होके हक सच वाला सच्चा जीवन जीने की जाच सिखाई गई है। पै काहू को देत न पै मानत आन। अज सिख यूथ नू सिखा ते होरे जुल्मां बारे पता होना चाहिए। 1984 की सिख नस्लकुशी दे शहीदां ने अपने डुले होए खून अते अमल नाल सानू दर्शाया कि इस दुनिया के निज़ाम अते स्टेट दे नाल साडा रिश्ता किहो जिहा है। जेड़ा राज तंत्र साडे आले दुआले हैगा, उस नू टक्कर देण लई खालसे दा अमल की होना चाहिए है। ये साडी होंद ते आदर्शा दा स्टेट दे नाल टकरार सी ते है। सानू इस बारे अपनी आवाज़ बुलंद रखनी चाहिए है। इस दा मौका सानू अगस्त 17 नू DC विच हो रहे रेफरेंडम विच मिलेगा। आप जी सारे इस विच शमूलियत करके अपने गुरुआ दी दित्ती सिक्ख्या ते पैरा दवो। गुरु जी दी शहीदी बारे अते आउण वाले समय दे शहादतां बारे एक शायर ने लिखिया है। थोड़े दिनां दे विच ही फुल इसते खिलर जाणगे इहो संसार अंदर। कोई चमकोर ते लाहौर नू पागला सी, कोई सरहंद दी दीवार अंदर। बनी रहेगी सदा बहार इसते, लागे खिजा ने इसते टुकना नहीं।
ਲੱਗੀ ਓੜ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਨੇ ਸੁੱਕਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਖੂਨ ਸ਼ਹੀਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਕਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗੀ ਓੜ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਨੇ ਸੁੱਕਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਖੂਨ ਸ਼ਹੀਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਕਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
Manharpreet Singh, Manraj Singh. Who is Manraj Singh? You got a speech? Meher Jot Kaur. Speech? No speech. Mehma Kaur.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ Gurbani tells us जब आपकी ओद निदान बने अतहीरण में तब जूझ मरो Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Gurbani tells us, जब आपकी ओद निदान बने अतहीरण में तब जूझ मरो. When the final moment arrives, one must die fighting. But it also teaches us to live without fear. Nirpo, nirvad, no fear, no hatred. That's the spine of Sikh courage. In today's world, what does it mean for Sikh youth to carry forward Guruji's legacy? It means we don't chase comfort. We chase truth. We speak when silence is easy. We defend the rights of all people, not just our own, whether in the classroom, the workplace, or the streets. We must be those who don't frighten others and don't bow down to fear. That's the true meaning of Beka Hunko Det Nepe Manat An. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji didn't die to make us comfortable. He died to make us courageous. Let's not waste that. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Prabdeep Kaur. Sahib Jot Singh. Samrita Kaur. No? Sehaj Kaur.
Does Serena have a speech?
Serena Kaur, do you have a speech?
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. We are gathered here today to honor Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's great sacrifice, which had a lasting impact on both Sikh history and human conscience. His martyrdom served as a defense of religious freedom as well as the defense of a faith. Guruji sacrificed his life in 1675 to defend the religious rights of Kashmiri Pandits, who were being forced to convert to another religion. He gave his life in defense of everyone's freedom to live and practice their religion. His sacrifice is unprecedented in global history. Many people think that Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's and Guru Nanak Dev Ji's philosophies about the Janeo were different. Was something contradicting? The answer is no. Guru Nanak Dev Ji did not support the freedom to perform meaningless rituals. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji opposed tyranny in order to uphold human dignity and free will, not to support ritual. Truth, fairness, and humanity's unity were the foundational beliefs of both gurus. In Guru Gobind Singh Ji's tribute to his father in the Dasam Granth, he says, Tilak Janju Rakha Prabtaka, Kino Bado Kalu Masaka, Taram Het Saka Jin Kiya, Sis Diya Per Ser Na Diya. These lines from Gurbani say that he protected the Janeo and the sacred tilak of the Hindus, and this marked a great event in the Dark Age. It explains that he made a supreme sacrifice for the sake of righteousness and gave his head, but not his faith. All Sikh martyrs, from the Chote Sahibzade to Pai Mani Singh, who offered their life for justice rather than conquest, carry the torch of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's sacrifice alive in their souls. Carrying on Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's tradition for Sikh youth today entails more than just wearing a turban or a kada. It is becoming brave advocates for equality, fairness, and compassion. Guruji's legacy demands action in addition to remembering. Let's carry out his message in action as much as in words, remembering his sacrifice. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.